and thanks for tuning in to the Redwood Castle Studio channel today. I sincerely hope this special video is a great source of motivation and inspiration to you. If you enjoyed today's message, please be so kind as to subscribe to my channel and help others by sharing it. I receive no incentive for asking this, because I'm not compensated by any advertisers. I'm doing this presentation because I get great satisfaction from providing free counseling about improving your image, and in this case, self-mastery, which will lead you to great victory in life. So regardless of what you've been through or what you're going through now, I'd like you to smile. Get ready. There's something very profound coming your way. But first, I heard this story about the first man, Adam, who was talking with his creator. He said, "God, why did you make Eve so beautiful?" God said, "So you would love her." Then Adam said, "Well, why did you give her such long, beautiful hair?" And the Creator said again, "So you would love her and adore her." Curious, Adam asked, "Then God, why did you give her such a great figure?" Again, God said, "So you would love and adore every inch of her, Adam." Then Adam said, "Okay, God, you've made her so beautiful, lovely hair and all attractive face and body, but please allow me to ask you this one last question. Why did you make her so dumb?" "That's easy, Adam," said the Creator. "It was so that she would in return love you." Huh? No laughter? Anyway, if you listen carefully to this presentation, you'll hear the teachings and viewpoints of several wise Italian and Greek leaders of the past, some of which were ancient statesmen. And I can promise you, first of all, that there won't be a more comprehensive video that you can find today surrounding self-mastery. During this message, I won't be going into quoting every single philosopher as some teachers would. That's because part of my goal is to get you to do your own research about these age-old truths. Although a few of these ideas were taught within ancient Chinese and Japanese Buddhist cultures, I'm going to focus on the Western European philosophies that cover a 400-year time period, primarily the life mastery skills that were taught from about 100 years before Christ through about 300 years after his death. These Greco-Roman philosophies have proven the test of time, let's say. Many great U.S. presidents and world leaders have wholeheartedly adopted them and have realized great success. These concepts have a very strong emphasis on wisdom, morality, justice, obligation, and of course, logic. To begin, I'd like to share that a life of self-control, caution, and moderation is the key path that leads to an existence of self-mastery. Although I'm speaking primarily to men in this presentation, may I say that all these teachings and concepts apply perfectly to the female gender as well. Courage, selflessness, honor, and displaying dignity within your character were all key concepts aligned with these wise Greco-Roman convictions. As we get farther into the presentation, my goal is not necessarily to convert you into an ancient Greek or a Roman philosopher that thinks with a mindset in ancient times, nor is it my hope to point you to the sometimes lofty thinking of Plato or Socrates. Rather, my hope is to share sound, time-tested doctrine that will allow you to look at your present-day life with all of its fallacies, and that takes humility, then to begin seeing life circumstances differently. Even though this presentation is indeed applicable to both sexes, I personally believe men, particularly younger men, will benefit from its content the most. For example, in the Greek alphabet, there are 3 letters that are mostly used to talk about various types of men, those being alpha, beta, and sigma. We all know what a dominant alpha male is, maybe even the beta or follower male, but a new concept keeps cropping up today, which is just a repackaged representation of what a sigma male was in ancient Greek times. If you're not familiar with what a sigma male is, simply look it up on YouTube, for example, because about 1/3 of what I'm going to talk about today is in direct alignment with this type of personality. Regarding women, a possible correlation to a sigma male would be a classy or sophisticated and educated woman. If you'd like to learn more about exactly what exemplifies this wonderful version of the female gender, spend an hour on my video entitled How to Find a Classy or Sophisticated Lady. Incidentally, what's interesting about the lessons in today's video is while you are listening to them, you will be surprised to discover that many admirable qualities that you appreciate today have been around for 2,000 years. Having said that, I'm going to guide you through 7 profound lessons that are highly valuable and life-changing. So the first lesson I'd like to share is something we all hear about, but few actually practice. And that simply is your perception of circumstances is everything, and the circumstances themselves are a minor thing. What really frightens and worries us is not external events themselves, but the way in which we think about them. Said in another way, it is not a situation that disturbs most people, but rather their version of its significance. Clinical psychologists will routinely point out that 85% of everything we worry about never happens, and the remaining 15% will usually occur to a lesser extent than what we imagined. So if you are distressed by anything external, that anxiety is not due to the actual thing, rather it's due to your estimation of it. And you have the power to revoke that at any moment. So listen on. The key here, and a mantra we ignore in modern times, is that it's not what happens to you, but how you react to that event that matters most. This means we cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. This Greco-Roman philosophy encapsulates the belief in the supremacy of personal action and mental fortitude over the unpredictability of life, which, if practiced correctly, is profoundly liberating and empowering. That's because it suggests that true control and freedom rest not in altering the world around us, but in changing our internal responses and attitudes to that world. So if you're a control freak, always trying to twist and manipulate outcomes, then this mentality is a great freedom. It reminds us that while we cannot control every aspect of our lives, be it the actions of others, societal pressures out there, or unforeseen events, we indeed do hold absolute power over our reactions and interpretations. When we shift our focus inward, concentrating on cultivating patience, understanding, and emotional stability, we can then embark on a journey of profound personal reflection. We eventually can learn to meet challenges with calmness, to find lessons in adversity, and maintain our inner peace in the face of external chaos. This lesson also proposes that every moment of adversity is an opportunity for growth. Every difficult interaction, a chance to practice virtues like kindness and patience, and every setback can be a test of our resilience. By choosing how we respond to our circumstances, we are constantly refining our character, sharpening our wisdom, and strengthening our mental fortitude. This is the first rule of self-mastery. That leads me to the second lesson, which is to choose to live a simple life right where you are, especially without running from tough times. Simplicity, patience, and self-mastery are the greatest treasures in life, because in all actuality, life is really simple. However, humans insist on making life complicated. Why is that? With regards to choosing a simple life, especially not running from tough times, I'd like to say that when folks want to escape the things that bother them, what they're actually needing is not to be in a different location, but rather to be a different person. Rather than seeking a relief in a change of scenery or circumstances, I urge you to delve inward to fundamentally alter how you interact with the world. This shift from external to internal is a call to personal empowerment, and it points out that true freedom and peace comes from within. This suggests that the key to overcoming life's challenges lies not in changing our external circumstances, but transforming, again, our internal selves. This is somewhat daunting for many because it places the responsibility of change squarely on our shoulders. Therefore, you must examine your own reactions, beliefs, and attitudes as you become self-aware and mindful of what you're troubled by. If you're anxious, you're living in the future. If you're at peace, you're living in the present. By understanding our thoughts and emotions, we gain the power to reshape them. This is not a superficial change, but a deep personal evolution. It's about cultivating virtues like resilience, patience, and wisdom. It's a reminder also that we can't control external events again, but we have the immense power to control our reactions and, in turn, our destiny, which is a concept that echoes that first lesson. May I say that if you adopt this, it will become a beacon of hope and a testament to your true potential. You'll be reassured that no matter the situation, There is always room for growth and improvement. Every challenge and every obstacle becomes an opportunity to become a better version of yourself, rather than an escapist focused on avoidance. Do you know anyone like that? Our focus must shift from trying to control the uncontrollable to mastering the one single thing we can indeed control, which is ourselves and our viewpoints. Obviously, this philosophy does not promise an easy journey in life, because no matter what, there will be many difficult times. What it does promise is a journey where each step forward, no matter how small, is a triumph in the art of existing with an unyielding strength and adaptability. By embracing this wisdom, we find not just a way to escape what harasses us, but a way to thrive during it, growing stronger and wiser with each challenge we overcome. So, linked to this second lesson, our third lesson is that personal progress is not achieved by luck or accident, but by working on yourself and your character daily. There's an ancient Italian proverb that is translated something very similar to this: victory loves planning. Said in another way, success is what happens when preparation meets the challenge. I'm going to spend quite a bit of time on this crucial teaching of the ancient Greco-Romans, so listen carefully. There is no such thing as bad luck, okay? That's part of this teaching, and it truly challenges the common misconception of luck or a heavenly blessing. Some people might call it serendipity. It challenges that whimsical, uncontrollable force. Instead, it positions luck as a byproduct of one's deliberate efforts and planning. Remember, victory loves planning. This point includes the fact that courage and hard work, not luck, is required in the pursuit of self-improvement and goal attainment. This may sound a little crazy, but I'd like to encourage you to embrace the possibility of being perceived foolish or stupid in your efforts to improve life circumstances or challenges through this hard work. As an example, about 20 years ago, I did something what everyone around me was calling foolish and stupid. I took a job with a major financial services firm that required a tremendous amount of study and passing of several licensing exams, only to complete everything and go into a career position that paid nothing except commissions. Okay? I struggled for years to make ends meet, and sometimes living off of a credit card, I might add. But eventually, I got a couple good breaks and began making decent money. But it was all due to hard work, not lucky breaks. Okay, let me emphasize that. The moral of the story is that you must occasionally look a little foolish in your journey to improving circumstances or setbacks, such as in the case of a low-paying job. Part of this philosophy teaches us to not be concerned with what others think or how they will judge us during the process of our planning or preparation. The key point is that if you want to progress through life with victory, do not be concerned. Do not be concerned. Did I say that? If others think you as old-fashioned, foolish, or lame. Keep in mind that in the realm of self-mastery, our fortunes are not handed to us by fate, okay? Rather, they are most often the result of our actions and preparedness. Also, on this path to self-mastery, one must often step out of comfort zones, challenge prevailing norms, or admit to not knowing much about a subject, which of course is very humbling. It's a humbling concept that can indeed make one appear weak or inexperienced in the public eye. But what matters most is what you think of yourself, right? We'll keep echoing the same theme. You will never know it all, obviously. And anyone that tells you that they have mastered life, and I know a few of these folks, is either a liar, an idiot, or a man or woman suffering from an internal inferiority complex. Also, when you're asked a question about something you know little about, listen carefully to this. This is very common. And then you try to provide a long-winded answer using high vocabulary. Anyone with a moderate amount of intelligence and perception will know you are full of it and acting phony. So be a man or a shrewd woman, and when you don't know something, look the other person in the eye and tell them it is an area you are working to improve on. It is highly important in this quest to be indifferent to external opinions and focus on both your knowledge of a subject and the high value of honesty. This philosophy encourages us to measure our worth and progress by our standards rather than external validation. Are you always seeking external validation? Don't do that. I'll echo that common theme as well throughout the presentation. Care not what others think about you, but rather what you think of yourself. You are a masterpiece in the making, and if you are not perfect now, and others notice that, do not be concerned about that, because this will stunt your quest for self-mastery. The pursuit of knowledge, wisdom, or new skills often involves moments of vulnerability and openness to learning, which might be misconstrued as ignorance or naivety. When you are misjudged or criticized, then simply be willing to endure it with the full knowledge of your self-worth. It's all about inner strength in the face of temporary stupidity or lack of knowledge, which is in essence an adversity to you. Obviously, the fear of being judged can be a significant hindrance to moving forward in any endeavor. I'm asking you, however, to rise above this fear in order to achieve true freedom. This freedom from worrying about external judgment is what begins to open up space for genuine growth and self-improvement. It's a journey that is fundamentally rooted in transforming our character and perspective to be in alignment with our true selves rather than what others want us to do or be. In this way, preparation becomes an ongoing process of self-reflection, learning, and growth, building a foundation upon which serendipity can find its footing. This shift in perspective is vital for anyone on a journey of self-improvement. It suggests that while we cannot control every circumstance, as in the first lesson that I discussed, we can cultivate the skills, knowledge, and mindset necessary to capitalize on opportunities when they arise. So it's important to adopt a mindset of constantly honing your skills, broadening your understanding, and nurturing a state of readiness In doing so, we not only become architects of our own fate, but also gain a deeper sense of fulfillment and purpose. You cannot imagine the freedom you will receive through a life of constantly reading, learning, and growing your knowledge base. When you have the humility to tell yourself you will never know it all or be an expert on something, you'll come to realize that your greatest achievements are not just the result of fortuitous configurations, but rather are deeply rooted in your efforts to improve yourself. If you look at the lives of the greatest leaders in science and medicine, such as brain surgeons or astrophysicists, one common theme is that they will clearly tell you they have never arrived in life, nor are they the master of anything, particularly if they are humble. Rather, they will inform you of a new research project that they are part of to discover a breakthrough in their field. That research constitutes ongoing learning, which gives their life great meaning. Therefore, consider that each day is an opportunity to refine your character, to learn new skills, or improve your responses to life's myriad of situations. This philosophy implies that the quality of our lives is largely dependent on our actions and attitudes, rather than external factors. For the 8th time, sorry to be so repetitive about this, it's a call to be proactive, to engage actively with our own personal development and always be learning. By doing so, you become a beacon of inspiration and strength to those around you as well. Consider that every step and every conscious decision will place you in a better position farther forward than yesterday. Truly an accumulated experience of learning that is part of your journey of significant transformation into self-mastery. Can this be shortcut through fast learning, brief experiences, or let's say shortcutting life experiences in general? And the answer would be no. There are no shortcuts or quick fixes. Instead, there is the empowering realization that we hold the keys to our long, steady learning process. Embracing this philosophy leads to a life lived with purpose and meaning, where every day is a canvas for growth and supercharged with a focus for goal accomplishment and victory. We're talking about lifelong learning here, okay? Of course, additionally, as part of this topic surrounding the hard work necessary for victory in relationships and life pursuits, I'd like to reiterate the key point that no one becomes wise by chance, and there is truly no such thing as dumb luck. Ya dummy? Listen, wisdom doesn't just magnificently and mysteriously manifest itself, nor is it reserved for a privileged few. Instead, it blossoms from deliberate actions and choices. The notion is liberating. This notion, rather, is liberating, placing the keys to personal evolution and intellectual awakening into our own hands, and it discredits the idea of wisdom as a scarce commodity held by business and world leaders, for example, locked away from the masses. Instead, it suggests that wisdom and success is a treasure available to all who embark on a rigorous but rewarding voyage of self-mastery through Continual learning, that means reading. Do not be afraid to read, or you will be setting yourself up for failure. Okay, it's a rigorous, rewarding voyage of self-mastery through continual learning and personal achievement. We therefore must become voyagers in this life, ceaselessly comprehending, absorbing, and mentally growing. The wealth of a community is not within its treasury, but within its education, because only the educated are free. No man or woman is free who is not the master over their own mind. This is not merely about formal education or academic accomplishments. Rather, it speaks to the essence of personal growth and enlightenment. And in my view, education is synonymous with a deep understanding of oneself and the difficulties in life. Learning can be thought of as the foundational form of wisdom, which liberates us from internal constraints like ignorance, irrational fears, and unplanned desires. To be educated is to cultivate an awareness of what is within your control and what is not. This perspective is empowering as it shifts the position of control inward again. It's about learning to navigate the complexities of life with a steady hand and a clear mind, constantly refining our character and understanding through introspection and mindful conditioning. Moreover, this notion of freedom is intrinsically linked to self-improvement. It suggests that true freedom comes from self-mastery of the mind and the ability to govern oneself with reason and morality. Obviously, one key to being an ethical and moral person lies within one's current level of humility. The interesting thing here is that if you've ever met someone with a very high moral standard, they do not consider themselves to be moral, but rather a student of practicing self-control. This freedom via continual learning is not an external show of knowledge, but an internal state of being. Do not be considered Mr. Know-it-all, okay? That's arrogant, and people will think much less of you, regardless of what you think of yourself. You'll lose friends, okay? It also includes breaking free from the shackles of addictive habits, societal pressures, and unstable emotions, all the while educating yourself to be more independent in the process. It encourages also a life filled with intention, integrity, and deep understanding of the human condition, aligning your personal and professional endeavors with the timeless pursuit of honest wisdom instead of shortcuts or hacks. When you are constantly learning as a younger person, okay, you are in essence positioning yourself for great relationships and careers that others just won't qualify for. This serves as a bonfire in the darkness. That's right, illuminating the path to a truly free and fulfilling life, which has the foundation built by the continuous pursuit of self-improvement and insight. In a word, never tired to study, nor to teach others. Okay, anything that you've learned, one of the keys to life is to take that knowledge and give it away to others. Keep in mind, this is not just learning for the sake of gathering facts to impress others. Like I said, Do not show off with this, nor is it for passing a test so you can just get a better job. Okay, the Greco-Roman wisdom here transcends the mere accumulation of facts. It is an art form, skillfully blending knowledge with slow yet deliberate application in both practical and ethical ways. This pursuit is akin to navigating the depths of our souls, our values, and the universe, transforming us into architects of our destiny, curators of our experiences, and narrators of our life story. How beautiful is that? Embracing this odyssey with all its intricacies and challenges is what infuses life with richness and meaning. It allows us to blossom, not by mere chance, but by a conscious, deliberate dance of self-mastery and personal improvement. In this journey, we not only transform ourselves, but we also cast spiritual waves of growth and enlightenment to those in the world around us. Let me repeat that. In this journey, we not only transform ourselves, but we also cast spiritual waves of growth and enlightenment to the universe or the world around us. Okay? The will to win, the desire to succeed, and the urge to reach your full potential are keys that will unlock the door to excellence and eventually self-mastery. Now, the fourth lesson I'd like to share with you works in hand with this third lesson, okay? And it's an integral part of all Greco-Roman self-mastery teaching. So again, this has been repeated before, but I'm going to focus an entire lesson on just this truth. Give up caring what people think about you. Put in modern day street terms, don't give a flying F word what others think, okay? Which takes a great amount of confidence. When you care about what others think, you will always be their prisoner, okay? In like manner, when you live for the praise or validation of others, you become their slave. When you can liberate yourself, are you listening? From the worries about what others think, then you won't be held back from being creative as you solve life's problems. And sometimes as you solve the problems of others. Okay, if you embrace this, I mean really put it into practical life, then you will begin to understand that no one can damage you emotionally. To help you with this, I'd like to share with you what I say to myself when others have insulted me in the past. Maybe even on rare occasion have cussed at me, okay? Or just, let's say, try to critically injure me with judgment. I walk away from the conflict with confidence, and when I get alone, I just laugh at them, okay? I realize in my laughter who the bigger person is, and that no one can steal my joy nor emotionally damage me. They don't know who I am, nor do they know what I think. They cannot even touch the ideals which are really part of both me and how I live. To make a point, okay, consider this. The happiness of those who want to be popular will always depend on others. Also, the happiness of those who seek pleasure will fluctuate with moods and elements outside their control. But the happiness of a wise man or woman grows out of their own independent actions and viewpoints. We all make mistakes, sometimes deliberately doing something we know is wrong. So if evil is spoken of you, and it's true, you need to be humble enough to apologize and correct yourself. Okay? But if that harsh judgment is a lie, then simply laugh at it without complaining, and in like manner, to complain about an unkind person or their actions is to double the evil, but to chuckle at it allows you to destroy it. Concentrate every minute on doing what is in front of you while you free yourself from all other distractions and external opinions. The essence of this lesson is that you should live in a manner where your happiness will rarely, if ever, depend on external events, words, or difficulties. To be wronged is nothing unless you continue to remember it. We all want to be loved and accepted. It's just human nature. But if everyone loves you, something is wrong. Here's some great advice. Find at least one enemy to keep you alert. When you look at the lives of famous celebrities, loved the world over, always know there are some people that are secretly resentful and hateful of them. Being loved or hated is inherently out of our control. Therefore, learn to recognize what is in your power to control, but also know those things you can't control, and then act accordingly without anxiety or worry. In life, our first job is to divide and distinguish circumstances into two categories: the externals that I cannot control and those that I can. Remember, it's all about the choices I make with regards to situations that are out of my control, which includes my choices of reactions to those circumstances. Regarding what I can indeed control, the same holds true. Keeping emotional stability and contentment is paramount in the process, even if the outcomes are less than what you imagined. You have the power over your own mind, not external events. Realize this and you'll find mental strength. Just as working strengthens your body, tough times endured through this ancient Greco-Roman way will be what fortifies your mind. Put in a slightly different way, physical labor fortifies the body, but mental and emotional challenges will strengthen your mind. In the realm of self-improvement, this perspective is transformative because it reframes difficulties not as obstacles to be avoided, but as opportunities for growth and strengthening of one's character. This also highlights the importance of resiliency and adaptability. Okay? In life's great gymnasium, each difficulty is akin to a new exercise for the mind, pushing its limits and expanding its capabilities. So, my friend, when you're faced with challenges, it's rather important to practice patience, develop problem-solving skills, and cultivate emotional stability rather than the emotional drama that most people display. This is a process that goes beyond enduring hardships, but it includes actively engaging with them, learning from them, and emerging out of the chaos as a wise champion rather than a defeated child like most. Think about your past reactions to relationship breakups. Did you cry? Did you complain for a month? Or were you secretly believing that if they don't want you, then you don't need them? Here's a suggestion. Spend your life walking around as if you were a statesman, an honest governor, okay, not a crooked one. This ancient Roman statesman that you're exemplifying is ruler over a significant population, and he has great wealth. But at the same time, he or she is very humble regarding their wealth and power. Start thinking of your life this way, that secretly you are a ruler with power and influence. Then just maybe you will begin to become more and more like someone that is deserving of great respect and ruling not over a country, but over their emotions. But before you can rule over a state, you must first be able to rule over yourself and your mind. And after you're able to control your own thinking and your emotions, then you may be able to lead your family, let's say. If you're good at that, it might be time to lead a business, then a city, then eventually a state or even a country. But it all starts internally with who you are, okay? Who you are and have molded yourself to be. May I tell you that all of this is a call to not avoid, but rather embrace life's struggles with equal enthusiasm. The beauty of this philosophy lies in its empowering message. Simply put, you are not a passive recipient of life's deviations. Rather, you are an active participant in shaping your mental and emotional prowess, knowing that with each difficult challenge, be it relationship, financial, or career-based, you have the option of being the warrior prince or princess versus the bloody mess waiting for the medics to arrive. I rarely use the Bible as a reference, but in this case, I'll call your attention to the battle between Goliath and the skinny yet wiry David, later known as King David. If you carefully read the passage, it quotes David as running toward the giant. Some translations say he moved quickly toward the battle line to meet the great Philistine. But before he ran toward the monster, there is a very interesting verbal exchange between the two, and it highlights the confidence that the young man had in knowing ahead of time that he was the victor. Roughly translated, this is what he said: "Today the Lord will hand you over to me. I will strike you down and cut your head off. On this tragic day for you, I'm going to feed you and your entire army to the birds of the air and the wild animals of the field." And let me add, according to the scriptures, believe it or not, he did exactly that, okay? He did what he said he was going to do, particularly after penetrating the skull of Goliath with a river rock from his sling. What will you do when the monsters face you? Whether those are financial, tough love relationships, problems with colleagues, insults out there in the public, will you cut and run? Will you cry and complain? Or will you run swiftly toward them like the young King David with confidence of a small yet highly skilled warrior or warrior princess? This is a profound call to action, encouraging us to step out of our comfort zones, to face our fears, to run toward adversities and turn those adversities into stepping stones toward personal growth and victory. Will you cut the head of the giant off, or will you cut and run and head for cover? In the grand narrative of self-mastery, every difficulty is a chapter that contributes to your success story. Or, if you avoid this advice, then those difficulties will contribute to your life failures, okay? Which will you choose? Will you choose one of a confident life, every triumph building on the previous one and marked by continuous learning and unyielding strength of character, or one of arrogance and continuous loss? Okay, so now let's talk about the fifth lesson, which is one that many have heard of in the past, but few choose to follow. Namely, associate with people who are likely to improve you. The key lesson is to keep company with only those who will uplift and encourage you, and people that will move you toward your best performances. The profound lesson here encapsulates the timeless wisdom that is highly relevant in context here, in the context of today's teaching on self-mastery. Okay, at its core, it underscores the significance of our social environment in shaping our character, beliefs, and ultimately our destiny. Okay, and let me say, if you are the smartest person in the room, then it's time to switch rooms. Similarly, within your friendship circle, if you're the only one that is against profanity, immorality, or lying, then you better find a different circle to call friends, because bad company corrupts good morals. We all have heard through the grapevine, let's say, that if you want to become a multimillionaire, then spend your time with multimillionaires. Easier said than done, especially if you're not part of their inner circle. Nonetheless, there is some truth to this. Setting money aside, this also implies making friends only with those people that are in a better position than you, which includes a better emotional position. My advice here is not just about forming relationships for personal gain, but rather about surrounding yourself with folks who inspire, challenge, and elevate you to the next great level in life. Fly with the eagles out there instead of the turkeys. Simply put, the people we associate with will act as mirrors, reflecting to us not only who we are, but also who we are capable of becoming. If you hang with gossips, drunks, abusers, or criminals, guess what you'll become? That's right, a damn lowlife. So, in the world of personal growth, the influence of our friends or associates cannot be overstated enough. When we surround ourselves with people who embody the virtues we admire, such as intelligence, integrity, and kindness, we are automatically inclined to mimic these qualities. Psychologists call this the chameleon effect, or emotional mirroring. In essence, our associations become a powerful catalyst for transformation, subtly guiding us to question our own values, rethink our choices, and strive for a higher standard of living. Conversely, in the company of those who foster negativity or complacency, we may find our growth stunted and our aspirations ruined. So, in the scope of ancient Greco-Roman self-mastery, we are reminded to consciously curate our social circle, seeking out those who not only align with our values, but also challenge us to evolve into something better, continuously weeding out the bad players. By curating the right inner circle of meaningful connections, what you end up doing is actually creating a respectable system for growth and success. This also means that self-improvement is not performed in a vacuum of isolation. Rather, it is a journey enriched by wisdom, support, and the inspiration of others. When we spend time with people that drag us into their muddy thinking, we get dirty and lose direction in the process. Okay? This may sound harsh at first, but when you're in a relationship with someone, even if it is a work relationship, you must have enough guts to just walk away. Okay? That's right. We're not created to be doormats of others or the doormat of a tyrant of a boss. Similarly, when you have a spouse or significant other that demands validation in a dramatic way all the time, or they don't think twice about bickering about small things, I suggest you give them time. But if their dramatic methods and their cruelty toward you are keeping you from being the best you can be, then I also say move on. Okay? As a caveat here, however, this does not mean to get a divorce if you have an occasional argument, because we all know there are solutions, okay, such as forgiveness and counseling. But what it does mean is that if you are being taken advantage of financially, verbally abused on a regular basis, or God forbid, physically abused, then get out before you become a statistic. I'm therefore encouraging you to be intentional about the company you keep, recognizing that the people around you can profoundly make or break you. I'm advising you to surround yourself with individuals who inspire you to ascend to your highest potential, and those who challenge you to emotionally grow when faced with various uncomfortable situations. When we choose to spend our time with people who encourage and inspire us, we are not just seeking comfort or affirmation. We are consciously creating a nurturing environment for our personal growth, one that fosters enlightenment, motivation, and of course, self-mastery taught by the ancient Greco-Romans and applicable to today. I'm not talking about trashing any and all types of challenging relationships, okay? Rather, I'm talking about developing relationships that are fundamentally constructive, where the challenges posed are catalysts for growth rather than seeds of destruction. Also, do not think this is about hanging with folks that are super wealthy, okay? Because many times they are the most emotionally bankrupt and narcissistic people around. Put it another way, don't envy that guy or gal that's racing down the road in a custom $230,000 Ferrari, saying, damn, they got it made, because you never know. They might be looking for the next concrete wall to smash into, hell-bent on a fiery suicide. Delving into this topic from a slightly different angle, when you associate with people who are likely to improve you, the wonderful side effect is that it will not only bring out your best, but it will also set you up to contribute positively to your community. When others see this, they will feel inspired in the same way that you did and want to associate with people just like you. Be an example, okay? This means you become part of a virtuous cycle where your self-mastery aids in the betterment of others and their growth as well, which in turn enriches those people. Now, who doesn't want to be part of a powerful cycle like that? Okay, it's a symbiotic relationship between personal development and the collective welfare of your community. May I say that when you send positivity, honesty, and love out there into the universal air, it catches the wind, okay? The universal spirit, which combines with your attributes and then distributes those excellent qualities to others in the world around you. So when it's bedtime and you're meditating on the day's events, it's essential to keep an account of your words and actions that day. Consider if you have mastered the day or if you were an emotional wreck. What virtue did you acquire, and which vice did you either embrace or reject? Working in concert with this fifth topic, okay, that we just discussed is the sixth lesson, and that is to tell yourself exactly what you want to become and then work with great passion to achieve it. This lesson encapsulates the essence of intentional living and the power of self-determination. And at its core, it's a call to clarity and purpose, urging one to first define their ideal self, which includes the embodiment of who they aspire to be in character, values, and actions. This introspective exercise is not merely about setting goals or achieving a relationship dream. It's far deeper. In essence, the ancients are talking about a profound journey into the true desires that you hold dear, and of course, a journey into your self-worth, okay? Your self-worth, then taking that introspective and working hard to achieve those desires. And in the realm of self-mastery, this is a deliberate thought, okay, with action toward knowing oneself and acknowledging one's strength and weaknesses and the principles that you hold dear. It's about painting a vivid picture, okay, of the type of person that you strive to become, and then again, working like mad to get there. Along the way, you set achievable goals. Then when you reach each small goal, right, then it's a release of adrenaline and serotonin that it invigorates and gives meaning to the journey of a victorious life. Mental realization of the dream or goal is only half the battle. The true test lies in doing. Okay, this is where the rubber meets the road in self-mastery. It's about aligning one's daily actions with the higher version of oneself. Okay, this supercharges every day with meaning as you are faced with a set of challenges and opportunities toward that end goal. This Greco-Roman philosophy demands discipline, courage, and resilience, qualities that are central to all great leaders. Needless to say, but I'm going to say it anyway, that your aspirations and dreams do not materialize through wishful thinking, okay, or great breaks, but rather through consistent and deliberate actions. Do not be one of the fools out there that lives in a delusional state of mind, always waiting for a magical great break, or let's say the next heavenly blessing. Good luck. Remember, we just spoke about that. Don't be one of the fools out there expecting this good luck to magically arrive, because honestly, it just never does, my friend. Because let me tell you through experience and after counseling hundreds of people, okay, that the big phone call you're waiting for, it rarely, if ever, happens. okay? Therefore, each day must become an opportunity to embody the attributes and qualities of your ideal self, transforming your lofty hopes, okay, into tangible reality. It's a journey that involves not just the big leaps, but more importantly, the small, consistent steps taken every day. As you arrive at a reasonable milestone, it's essential to recalibrate and analyze your progress, okay? This may take several attempts, maybe even a few small failures, but with each attempt or failure, you learn something and gather useful information in this endeavor toward eventually reaching your ideal self. The beauty of this methodology, it lies in its simplicity. It's more than aimless trial and error because it involves planning. Remember the beginning of the lesson. You originally told yourself what you want to become, so now you are in the midst of the arduous task of getting there. Whether it's finishing a marathon, getting an attractive spouse, conquering a tough task at work, or just having the smoothest relationships of anyone you know. This is serious business and it should not be taken lightly, like someone that's partying through the process. This is a practical ideal that is a guiding light that calls everyone to forge their path, cultivate their self-worth, and ultimately become the best version of themselves. It's a reminder that the power to change and improve rests within your own determination and unwavering commitment toward that end goal. In a practical context, this means actively living out the qualities you admire. It's not enough to simply respect honesty, kindness, success, or physical fitness, okay? One must practice and eventually achieve, okay? Which for many is a lifelong endeavor of self-improvement, okay? Think of a pro golfer or even a heart surgeon. They are constantly practicing and honing their skills. Moreover, this lesson is a reminder of the personal responsibility each individual has in shaping their character. The journey of self-mastery is deeply personal, okay, and cannot be outsourced or borrowed from others' opinions or societal instruction, okay? It's a call to look inward, to examine your actions and motivations, then align them with your personal definition of excellence. Mastering others is superficial strength, but mastering one's own self is where the true power lies. Now, just like many of these lessons are interwoven, the same holds true with our seventh and final lesson of self-mastery, which is your happiness in life completely depends on you and no one else. The contentment of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts, not the opinions of others, okay? Just like I said before, therefore, guard your mind accordingly and be cautious to never entertain ideas incompatible with being the most honest, successful, and effective person in your community. One of the cores of ancient Greco-Roman self-mastery is being taught here. This way of life is a very powerful ancient philosophy in modern times, and at its core, this form of self-mastery is an internal commitment to ongoing personal development and a steady path of becoming the best possible version of yourself. With regards to what is on everyone's mind today, okay, the pursuit of happiness through financial success or gain, I'd like to suggest there is no such thing. Happiness through financial gain, that is. Okay? You will become rather content when you do not grieve or become saddened about the material things that you have not achieved, okay? Because your mind will gravitate toward replacing. Listen, when you adopt this philosophy that I'm teaching, your mind is going to gravitate toward replacing that nonsense with rejoicing over the things you indeed do have. For example, your mental health or family and career, regardless, are you listening, of your income level. True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future or the financial future, let's say. Don't occupy your thinking nor confuse your mind with either hopes or fears about something that may or may not come to pass. I'm suggesting, therefore, to simply rest your mind in a satisfied condition, particularly in relationship to the things or relationships you currently have, which is sufficient for today. Because with this mental satisfaction, you will arrive at the conclusion that you need nothing more than what is right in front of you. Okay? This means that the greatest blessings of life are within you and in front of you. Okay? A wise person is content with his fortune, no matter how small it may be, without wishing for what they have not acquired. Someone just said, John, what you're asking me to do is think like an ancient philosopher, which has no bearing on modern day life. I'm bankrupt, divorced, and every time I take a step forward, I take 2 steps back. This way of thinking is too far-fetched to apply to me today, John. I need sex and money, and I need it now. And my reply is, if you are saying that after listening to this presentation for an hour, then you have not been hearing the plethora of present-day applications that I've provided you with. In essence, you are hearing what you want to hear and being stubborn to change. That said, I realize it's not easy to recalibrate your thinking, but it's not impossible either. How bad do you want a positive change in your circumstances, okay? Which should be the question you're asking rather than being critical of great Greco-Roman thinkers or saying that it's all too antiquated for you. Here's a key. Choose not to be harmed and you won't feel harmed. If you're mentally strong enough to not be offended by circumstances, then you can never be hurt. But if someone does endeavor to greatly offend you, then they will be the ones that suffer the most. This is a present reminder that true wisdom and personal growth are not merely about accumulating knowledge or arming yourself for conflict, but about living out virtual principles in our daily life without worry. So I challenge you to move beyond the theoretical and step into the practical application of the Greco-Roman values that are presented here. In this way, you won't be the guy or gal complaining that none of this applies to your job loss, divorce, or lack of personal progress in the domain of self-mastery. This encourages you to align your actions with your beliefs, ensuring that you are not just thinking about the ideals of discipline, resilience, and kindness, but actually practicing them. And by practicing them regularly, that is where true transformation occurs. For example, if we value discipline, we embody this philosophy not merely by talking about its benefit, by living it out. But by living it out, okay, is what I want to say. In our daily routines, whether that is sticking to a fitness program, maintaining a super healthy diet, or managing your love relationship smoothly without drama. The emphasis is on being and practicing rather than thinking about it or being a poser. What you are actually doing is fostering a life where your external actions reflect your internal principles, right? For the 11th time. By living out the principles of great Greco-Roman statesmen, such as managing emotions, focusing on what's controllable, okay, or facing challenges with calmness, we not only improve ourselves, but also influence those around us. And like the Buddhists teach, when you send that influence out into the universal air, it catches the wind and can even reach people in distant countries. This also means that your present day actions, more than your self-promoting words, is what offers hope and guidance to others. Remember the chameleon effect. By honestly looking within yourself, you confront not only your strengths, okay, but also your weaknesses, fears, and insecurities. This confrontation is not to belittle ourselves, but to understand and harness these elements as catalysts for growth. He who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior. The act of consistently turning inward teaches us to cultivate a mindset that views challenges as opportunities for developments and failures as true lessons in disguise, right? I think I said that before. Such a perspective shifts the paradigm of self-mastery from an external quest of showing off to an internal quest, an internal awakening, let's say. Thus, making the entire journey not just one of personal achievement, but more of a profound realization that gives you the necessary foundation for self-mastery and the side effect of being an outstanding example to others, okay? The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and what the caterpillar calls the end, the rest of the world calls a butterfly. Thank you.